Does somebody on this channel believe that you should sell all of your Bitcoin for altcoins? Should be an interesting conversation. What is going on with BTC? Are we in for a massive short squeeze? Are we about to see a big rally in the markets? We have Dan from the Chart Guys joining us here shortly to talk about the markets. Take a look at some of your favorite altcoins. We're going to take a look at Caspa, ICP, Cardano, some of the other top layer ones and layer twos that we're excited about. We're also going to talk about what Robinhood is doing and what that means for crypto moving forward. Are they expecting a massive influx of new users on Robinhood for crypto? The answer might lie in the updates they are making to their app. We're also going to talk about Tether. Is Tether propping up the cryptocurrency markets? I don't want to say fraudulently, but maybe not the way they're supposed to. We saw $1 billion USDT being minted and put on the Tron network, and well, Tron has gone from 12 to 16 cents. We're going to have that discussion and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way.
T-shirt today, huh?
Yeah, man. T-shirt day today, man.
Okay.
No, more
Okay.
casual Wednesday.
Okay. So, were you really telling me prior to when we went live that you would sell all your Bitcoin for altcoins right now? Because I thought you were joking at first, and then I tried to get confirmation, and you kind of had that grin on your face.
What grin?
Yeah. So, do you really think that right now, where prices are currently, people should consider selling all of their Bitcoin to get in altcoins?
Wanna know why? Because
Hold
we
on, so
just
you do-
crossed
wait.
$60,000.
So, hold on.
We
So
are
you-
back.
So you do believe that? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, look, man. You know what? If for anybody that isn't,
But I want you to give a straight answer, yes or no.
yes and no. And I know it pains you to hear me say that, David. I know it pains you to hear me say that. But if you are a savvy investor, if you have the cojones to invest short term, well, we are going into a bull market, and we know that altcoins outperform Bitcoin in a bull market. This isn't a theory.
But what
it's
runs
a proven, back-tested fact.
But what
And-
runs first, Robin? What runs first?
And it's ran. Look at this. This running.
It ran 1%. Oh my God, guys, you're up 1%. Sell all your Bitcoin.
Look, I'm okay. 2x out of Bitcoin is pretty bullish, right? $120,000. Everyone's over here clapping their hands. Michael Saylor's doing backflips. And so, but how high realistically are we going to get? 200,000? 250? 300? That's a real big stretch. So, at the end of the day, I'm looking at this Bitcoin from here, 2 to 3x. But we know what we're going to get out of Ethereum. You know what you're going to get out of Cardano. You know what you're going to get out of Caspa. You know what you're going to get out of Polygon. Well, maybe I shouldn't have Polygon. But you know where the returns are going to come is further down the market cap list, and that falls into the altcoin category, and they're going to outperform Bitcoin.
I agree with you, but what you're saying doesn't make sense.
I'm trying to make money, bro. That's
but what you're saying doesn't make sense.
For a guy with Robinhood account that has ETF Bitcoin,
what you should
don't do anything. Just hold the damn thing.
What you should be saying.
Congratulations. Welcome to the club.
What you should be saying is run with Bitcoin, take some of those profits, and then invest in altcoins. Not sell your Bitcoin at 60K.
If you're now trying to pull profits from Bitcoin, you just got in now, then just stay in there. Yes, exactly. But if you are a long-term buyer of crypto, particularly Bitcoin, if you were scooping up Bitcoin at 20,000, you're up a nice solid 3x, like a lot of us are. You know what? Move that portfolio over. Just make sure you get back. Go have fun, but make sure you're responsible. You come back to this side of the water, but go buy small coins. Get out of your Bitcoin. Get out of there. And you know what?
That is
And
such
then
bad
come
advice.
back. Come back.
That is horrible advice. You are about to sell an asset that is about to go parabolic.
I'm not discounting the
You
the
literally
promise
just
of
did.
Bitcoin.
You're saying sell your Bitcoin for altcoins right now.
Yeah. We'll see who makes more money.
Yeah, crickets.
We'll see.
I want to know what the chat thinks. I disagree with Robin. Do I think you should take some profits from your Bitcoin positions that are not long-term hold positions and rotate those in alts? Yes, I do. Is now the time to do it? No. Now is not the time to do it. If history tells us anything, Bitcoin runs first, the rest of the markets lead. And I wonder why, Robin, because the majority of the market does exactly what I'm saying people should do, is run with Bitcoin, take some profits, invest in lower cap, mid cap altcoins, make your money there, and take profit, and in the bear market, reinvest back into Bitcoin, rinse and repeat. Why make things complicated by selling Bitcoin and trying to figure out which one of these 20,000 cryptocurrencies you should put your money in?
Okay.
You don't think that's inherently more risky than just leaving it in Bitcoin?
Disclaimer. Yes, it's inherently more risky, but you know what? Are you trying to make some money?
I
here?
cannot take you serious.
Like,
I can't.
Are y'all trying to make some money or what? Because you know what? Like, I get it. And you know what? If you follow Big Rob's strategy, more times than not, you're probably going to get burned. But if you are plugged into this,
at least we agree on something.
to this show, if you're plugged into, kind of the ebbs and flows of the market, and you get out of Bitcoin temporarily, you go play around in the altcoin market, and then leave in, I don't know, 6 months, set some concrete entry and exit positions. Like, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to pick up some Ethereum here at $2,500. And when it gets up to, say, $7,000, I'll sell. How about that? And then at that point, I'll scale back into Bitcoin. I think that's how I approach my portfolio strategy.
Yeah.
I haven't sold all my Bitcoin yet, though.
If you're with David's approach, put a 1. If you're with Robin's approach, put a 2 in the chat. I'm curious to see what our guest thinks.
I know we got some degenerates in here. I better see a bunch of 2s in here.
You're going to see a bunch of 1s. We got Dan joining us. It's been a while. We're excited to have him back on here. Dan from the Chart Guys, welcome back, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back. Do you care to chime in on this conversation? I felt like should have been a pretty easy one, but I guess we're going back and forth here.
Really, the term is dependent on your goals. If you've got a small amount of capital and you're trying to make a big splash, and maybe turning $5,000 into $10,000 isn't really worth it to you, and you're trying to turn 5 into 35, then yeah, you want to go higher risk and higher reward. But as you say, we have history as a nice pattern to be looking at, and Bitcoin leads, altcoins lag, and I have to see the dominance chart falling, and I have to see the Bitcoin pairings on these altcoins, XRP, BTC, Matic BTC, whatever it is, they've got to start forming these uptrends if we're going to see any kind of longer term shift. Because if you're early, you sit through a 30% drawdown, and that's going to take a lot to get back. So timing is everything, as we know, and I just wouldn't be doing a whole lot of anything at once. If you want to nibble a little bit, things like that. But I'm always, the conservative style, because personally, I lucked out in 2017 is where I made my thousands of percent gains. And so I'm now in a conservative mindset. And I understand that people who have not made their thousands of percent gains, maybe wanting to have a bit of a different, more aggressive strategy.
So you're saying you're not a meme coin degen?
I am not, no.
I'm really
great for
disappointed,
trading, volatility, but yeah, no, you got, and as you mentioned, there's so many of them. The altcoin market to me is just turning into the penny stock world, where I started trading for my first 4 years, 2010, 2014, where there's just, so many of them, so many are scams. A few of them make it, Monster Energy makes it. And anybody that invested when it was on the penny stock market made millions, but the majority fail. And yeah, it's just, it's almost like, people hoping to win the lottery, and the probabilities are not in your favor. There are market environments where you throw anything at the wall and it works, but we are not in that market environment right now. And we won't be until Bitcoin's up at all-time highs and the dominance chart is dropping really hard.
And I agree with you. Let's take a look at the markets, Dan, and we'll jump into some charts here. And so BTC crossing over 60K. But if short history tells us anything, we should come right back down to 58. It should be exciting. Dan, we haven't seen a Bitcoin chart from you in a while. What have you been seeing on BTC? And when the hell are we finally going to break through this damn $61,000 level and hold above it, not come back down under 60?
Yeah, we're just chopping around. It's certainly, whenever you're range bound and sideways, for me, it just means trading less. It's, you pump the brakes as far as your trading activity, your aggressiveness. And then when tightening ranges break, that's when you go aggressive, you pump the gas. And so we're definitely in a range bound environment right now. You can see even just the weekly bars, inside bar last week, inside bar this week. So we know when that breaks, volatility is going to pick up a bit. And bigger picture, again, it's not ideal that we broke the 53,000 low, but we can also say there was no acceptance under that level as we shot back above it. And the monthly chart, for me, my guide is this EMA 12. We just want to keep holding that to keep this monthly longer term consolidation healthy. And again, we just had 6 months of really bullish action and now 6 months of sideways chopping around. And as you mentioned, 61 to 62,000 is where we have been struggling the most here, and nothing's going to change. Starting this week, I was looking at a bullish swing entry, and then I stopped myself just because, if I was meaning to be aggressive, then yes, I'd be looking for a bullish swing entry. If you didn't play the flush and bounce, this is your opportunity for a second chance here. And then I said, again, I want to be a bit more conservative. I'm not trying to be aggressive right now. I would rather wait for this to break and then maybe try and get in on a back test. And yeah, I'll miss some potential profit, but I'm also not going to lose any money while we're chopping around. So that's my mindset as a more conservative trader at the moment. Just let this sideways range resolve itself one way or the other. We know the broader market had an incredible recovery over the past few weeks. The S&P 500 is back to knocking on the all-time high. And again, that just helps sentiment for when, if we can get back to all-time highs in the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, it's definitely a good sign for sentiment in crypto. But again, it's just time to be patient. And this is how markets work. We have cycles of tightening, boring action, and then we have explosive, exciting cycles. And the number one reason people will lose money is they trade the same way in the exciting, explosive phase as the tightening, boring range, and they just give back their profits. So there's something to be said about sitting on your hands and being patient.
Dan, you mentioned being patient, waiting for the consolidation to be over. What are some things people should keep an eye on for them to feel confident that, okay, the consolidation is over?
So, I love just picking ranges, and we're just looking at the short-term range that we just had up here. So I can mark these two levels and say nothing changes in the short term unless one of these levels breaks. And so if we go up to 61 and then come back to 58, it's just nothing is changing. If we break 56, okay, that's a red flag for bulls in the short term, and that's something is different. If we break 62.8 where we topped out, something is different. But until that happens, nothing changes. You could do the same thing long term. Just go to the monthly and, that mid 50s level, and then up at, of course, we know 70, 72,000 has a lot of rejections. Big picture, long-term analysis, nothing is changing if we're between 55 and 73. So it depends on what time frame.
It's been every morning, man. Every morning I wake up and I feel like I'm in that damn Groundhog movie where I just I look over and it's the same time and it's the same price, 58,000, 59,000. It's every time, man. And so yeah.
And part of that has to do with market cap. The more market cap we get, the less volatility Bitcoin's going to see. The more adoption, the less volatility. That's just the way things work. That's why Apple, with its giant market cap, is much less volatile than, whatever mid-cap stock is out there as a comparison. So that's just the natural process of a maturing asset. But again, these ranges break. We have just showing Tesla 3-month time frame, the last 4 years. There's been a lot of volatility in the meantime, but this is 4 years of a tightening range. And this is going to break probably in 2025 sometime. And that's going to be significant to be watching. Jets, the airliner ETF, again, these have nothing to do with crypto, but just examples of just forever tightening ranges that are going to eventually break. And then we will see the highest period of volatility in these two assets that we've seen in years. And that's just, again, it's just the way markets work. You have volatility in both directions, and then you just digest that range as the scales find balance and we tighten up. And we're just doing a version of that in Bitcoin right now. And it's just telling you to be patient and telling you that, yeah, volatility will return here, but it could be another couple months. It could break tomorrow. But you got to be watching for volume and the key levels to be breaking. Volume is the key. You look at, let's go to the average weekly chart. This is Coinbase, and you can see this orange line is the 20-week average volume. It's just trending down. Back when we first hit all-time highs in March, the average 20-week volume, 110,000 coins. And right now it's at 78,000. So we can say that has dropped roughly 30% of your average volume. And if we're going to see breaks of tightening ranges, it doesn't happen without high volume. So your two indications, of course, are key levels breaking, but volume also gives you some clues before price levels break many times.
Amen to that. That's some great insight and advice, Dan. Thank you so much. I want to ask you about Ethereum. We're getting a sense here that ETH is a little underpriced. It's a little undervalued for everything that is happening with BlackRock, with the ETF. Market conditions haven't been great. As you stated, sentiment is kind of in the gutter right now. What does ETH setup look like?
So we had a very clear double bottom on the weekly chart here down at 2,800. We held it again. And then, the ETF launched. Not surprising that we dropped, at least initially, if we're looking back at what Bitcoin did and, of course, Grayscale and everything that goes on with their exorbitant fees and people fleeing Grayscale products. But look at this back test of resistance. We topped out just under previous support that is now acting as resistance. 2,800 is the level from here. If it's resistance, it's favoring the bears. And if it's support, it's favoring the bulls. And so that's the most important individual level on ETH right now. And as we keep saying, again, we always want to know things compared to Bitcoin, especially when we're talking, should we be taking money out of Bitcoin and putting it in altcoins? I've been talking about this ETH BTC weekly chart for years. If we are not breaking this downtrend line, nothing changes. This chart has not confirmed a weekly uptrend in literally years. So we have to see that happen if anything meaningful is going to change in terms of Ethereum gaining ground against Bitcoin. And it's just become comical at this point. We were looking at, the ETF's launching. If it's going to happen, here's the time to do it. And no, fresh lows.
Psych.
And again, yeah, any altcoin that you're watching, if the BTC pairing is hitting fresh lows, that is the chart telling you it is better to be in Bitcoin. If it's hitting highs, which is not happening in many of them this market cycle over the last bunch of months, then it's telling you that the altcoin is the better place to be. But this chart is glaringly saying Bitcoin over Ethereum consistently for years. There will probably come a time when that changes, but it's not going to change here in the near term. And
Dan,
you have to be patient until.
Dan, just real quick, you heard that, right? Better to be in Bitcoin.
Like the whole time Dan was.
I'm just
going
saying,
over that
but you
chart,
heard
he
what
was
the
like
man
over there
said, right?
staring at me.
He's
with,
literally showing you
like he wanted to
charts.
take me on a date or something. Like,
okay, that's
calm down, bro.
Okay. Anyways.
Rob's just trying to nail the bottom. He's trying to nail the bottom, and
he's been trying to nail bottoms for a while, but it ain't working.
That's the thing. Yeah, I advise against it, but I understand, where it comes from in terms of wanting the most risk and reward.
That's right.
But yeah, it's best to see the signs of the ship. You don't need to nail tops and bottoms. I mean, so many times where we see significant moves, it's just the meat of the move where the money is to be made. And, there's so many examples that I give where I didn't nail a bottom in Bitcoin, where I was 30% off the lows before I had conviction to have a long-term long and still made hundreds of percent. And so, giving 30% to then have the confidence and conviction, there's still plenty of reward.
That is such a good point, Dan. And everyone, and myself included too, sometimes, right? You try to wait for the absolute perfect entry, and then you end up missing out because you try to time the market. And some of the most brightest minds in our space that do this 18 hours a day aren't even able to do.
The last weekend we had the Rare Evo convention here in Las Vegas, and we got to meet a lot of the Cardano community. And we did an interview with Charles, and I feel like when you talk about trading against Bitcoin and underperforming Bitcoin, Cardano's another textbook example of, hey, you know what, in recent history, in the last say 2 years, you would have been better off holding Bitcoin versus Cardano.
But you can say that about every altcoin.
Yeah, well, I think a majority of the altcoins fit in that category, so it's not like it's an outlier here. But I know that we got a big Cardano community, and a lot of people
It's
are
up.
holding on.
It's
and
up.
It has a little bit of a move. It went from 33 to 37 cents just this morning. So yeah, I mean, what do you think about Cardano's chart? Is there any signals here as a good entry position? And yeah, what's your vibe on that one?
Pulling it up now. So again, that ADA BTC chart is still a weekly downtrend. And so you're just looking at, let's see, I was watching this sideways range back here that broke bear, but let's just look at the lower highs on the weekly because that is the consistent pattern. So we topped out at 81, then we dump down, then we bounce attempt, we top out at 52, we top out at 51, we top out at 49, we top out at 46. So clearly there's just a weekly downtrend. And on the current bounce, if we do not break 46, it's just another weekly lower high. So again, I love long-term patterns like this because we very clearly will see when something changes. We will either break the weekly lower highs. And again, oh man, but now we're up so much off the lows, I missed it. Well, then you wait for the back test or you wait for the higher low and look for your entry at that point.
What was that price for?
457 to be exact on Binance is the last lower high. So again, that's just imagine a battle between bulls and bears. I like to imagine a World War I with the trenches, just a battlefield, and they're just pushing back and forth. And this is as far as the bulls were able to advance before the bears knocked them all the way back again. And so if we can't reclaim that trench of resistance, if we can't reclaim that, we're not gaining any significant ground, bigger picture. So yes, there is a bounce underway, and there, is some opportunity to be had on the shorter term timeframes on this bounce. But on this current setup, what I'd be hoping for if I'm a bull is give me another leg up, and then I look for an inverse head and shoulders to try and shape up. Because again, if we confirm the first weekly uptrend with the simple higher low and higher high, we can say that's the first time that that's happened in, at this point, 5 months. Maybe by the time it happens, it's 6 months. And that's a shift for the first time in 6 months. And again, we want to recognize that that shift when it takes place. I'm watching things like natural gas, the commodity. It hasn't confirmed a weekly uptrend in like 2 years. So I just make a simple statement. I have zero interest looking long on this asset until it confirms the first weekly uptrend in 2 years. Then I know something's different. And I think that a lot of people, adopting that patient mindset, it's just literally giving a clear statement. This has to happen for the chart to be proving to me something is shifting. Otherwise, it's just keeping the same trend. And for something like this, it's just the weekly downtrend that's been intact for over 5 months at this point.
And Dan, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot right now. And but last cycle, if you look at if you want to zoom out on Cardano's chart to like 2020 to top of 2021, right? We saw ADA go from probably even a little bit before then, 5 cents to $3. Are there any similarities on the setup leading up to that massive rally that we saw back in the last cycle to what we're seeing now currently?
I mean, just bleed forever. But honestly, you're not going to like what I'm about to say about altcoins. But I don't think we're ever going to see an altcoin market like 2020 again. I think that the size of the market caps back then was much lower. The liquidity was much less significant. It was much easier for a little bit of money to move these things a long way. It was all the rage. I mean, you look at, I don't want to compare it too much to things outside of the crypto world, but you look at 3D printing, and this is DDD, a company in 3D printing that went from 5 to 56, so 1,100%. And it was just, everybody's going to have a 3D printer in their house. And it was the next big thing. People love to rush into the new technology that's going to change the world. And then it just does this for the next 5 years or what. That's actually not even the big one. This is the big one. So we went from 2 to 97. That's 5,000% almost. And then it's just give it all back for years. So I think many altcoins are going to do that. And just, we'll have this kind of move. Like we'll squeeze some shorts and there'll be opportunities again. But I think a lot of altcoins, 2020 is going to be this kind of moment where this stock is never going back there. The dilution that has taken place, it just doesn't make sense for that to be possible in many altcoins to be able to see that kind, to get back to the same level, the market cap would be 5 times larger on names that have been diluting. So again, I don't want to crush everybody's hopes.
I think you nailed it.
I don't want
but
to, yeah.
where I think is that there are going to be outliers, just like the tech industry, where maybe like the .com, where majority of these internet-based companies were not grounded in solid fundamentals and in the technology, and so they never came back. But I do think that they're going to rise from the ashes. Are going to be the solid projects with fundamentals that have the proper partnerships. And that's kind of where we're aiming to identify those. But man, I think you're spot on. I think that it's simply because your favorite project that you're invested in rallied last bull market, and you think it's going to outperform the last time around. I think is foolish, or at least to think that it's going to be blanketed across all altcoins. I don't think it's going to happen. So
I do think the market, remove Bitcoin out of it, right? What is your market cap for crypto X Bitcoin? It's about $1 trillion. That's pretty low, right? I mean, for a slew of blockchain, a slew of crypto tokens, I think a $1 trillion market cap is pretty low. But I do agree to some extent, Dan, that just because, the all-time high, and I'm not picking on Polkadot here, but I'm kind of, I guess, picking on Polkadot, but Polkadot got to $55, right? Does it mean it's going to get to 55 just because the market retail is going to come in? No. And I think as we go more deeper into the markets, we have more time on our side, right? And we get the actual adoption we're talking about. We're not going to have institutions. You're not going to have, if you gather 10 institutions, let's just call them 10 banks. They're not all 10 going to use 10 different blockchains. They're probably going to use a combination of 2 or 3. Look what happened with the ETF. 9 out of the 11 Bitcoin ETF issuers went with Coinbase Prime. Why? Because they're ahead. They have the security measures. They're a publicly traded company. And you better believe that when these companies decide to build solutions on these blockchains, on your favorite layer ones, they're going to look at Hedera, Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, insert name here. They're not going to be like, yeah, let's build something here, build something here, build something here. And then, hey, JP Morgan Chase, yeah, we're going to do Tron, and then we're going to do Polka. No, it's going to be 2 or 3 that they really pour money into, that those are the ones that you want to have exposure to. So that's kind of my thoughts. But you bring up a really good point. I think, as you mentioned, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, you could literally throw a dart at the wall, close your eyes, and be like, oh, yep, that's the coin I'm putting money in, and you would have made a 3, 4, 5x. No problem. I think those days are dwindling. It's going to be harder to get those returns unless you're in the super degenerate meme coin space, which I'm in, by the way. But that's inherently more risky. You're essentially gambling at that point. You're sitting down at a slot machine, you're putting money in, you're hitting the button. Every so often, you'll walk away with money. But more times than not, you're not going to walk away with money. It's something my dad said. The casinos were not built off winners. They were built off losers. And so same thing, which is why it's even more important now to really hone in on research, spend the time, because this is still an opportunity of a lifetime. It's just the window and the quality is shrinking. So that's kind of my thing.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. And it's probabilities. If you've got your probability of nailing the one is very low. If you wait until, okay, we see that they're all using this one chain, again, you're going to miss a chunk of the move, but there's still going to be tons of opportunity to jump on that and ride those coattails. It's just, I agree. Those are all good points.
Awesome. Dan, before we let you go, I do want to, I'm trying to get a commitment from you here. So apparently, this started off as a really dumb idea, but Robin's really good at convincing. So he has convinced me that we are officially going to hopefully launch a crypto almanac.
Coming.
Are you prepared to commit right now, live, that you will pre-order at least one of our crypto almanacs when it goes live?
As a former farmer and a current gardener that has used the Farmer's Almanac, I will commit and contribute.
Don't do that. Don't do the Trump.
That's my guy, Dan. We love you, man. Guys, if you enjoyed Dan, go follow him at The Chart Guys on YouTube. He's got a team of people that do technical analysis. One of my favorite things he does, and he talks about a lot, is the 1 hour back burner, right, on the RSI. And so it's something I use when I go into my trades. And so we love having Dan on. Gives a really good, fresh perspective. Dan, we thank you so much for joining us, my friend, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. And just a quick note on the back burner.
Yes.
We got to be in a strong breakout bull market for that to be a high probability setup. So when you're in this chop sideways, you're holding off on it. And then once the breakout's going, that's your ability to get in and to be trading around during that volatility. So just want to make that very clear. Sideways is not ideal for back burners. It's when you're in these strong breakouts.
Amen to that, Dan. Thank you so much, brother. We'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.
All right, brother.
All right. So what is that? 5 commits so far?
Yeah, man.
Wait, was Charles a commit? Did he commit?
He
He actually took it a step further. He said he would go promote it, shave his head at the airport.
Yes,
He did.
Yeah.
Caitlin Long was also intrigued. You saw that. She was asking questions. It's like, well, what is it going to be? You know, so I can't believe it. Anyways, I want to share a video. I want to share a video from Raul Paul, staying on the topic of not everything's going to make it, right? And I want people to understand, okay? I know we get emotionally invested in projects, right? But we all know, saying is in business, you never make big decisions when you're emotionally high or emotionally low. Chances are you're probably going to make a bad decision. So it's always good to put a lens on, see it from an objective standpoint, or try to see it from an objective standpoint, get different opinions, get different stats and metrics, and then you make your decision over the long term, right? You don't just make a decision, sell all your Bitcoin as it's going down at 53K, and the next thing you know, it bounces and you're kicking yourself in the butt. So I'm going to share this video. It's from Raul Paul talking about altcoins and the new bull market and what he does not recommend you do. And this should be a pretty interesting conversation once we're done watching it.
XRP, it's like from 2 bull markets ago. You might be right. You might love it forever. Just please move to whatever the strong momentum is. I know there's that fear in your head is this time it'll be the big one. You'll get plenty of notification, you get back in, but don't miss the bull market because you're in a narrative of past. And the communities are huge. And I don't want to get attacked by people online for this, but I just feel like you're being done a disservice by being in a cult. Our job is to be mercenaries. We're in the job to make money, not to be a cult. Cults don't make money except for the leaders. So I know it hurts people when I say this. Cardano, XRP, there's a whole bunch of these. I really hope you're right, but hope is not an investment. XRP.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think he's spot on.
You
Right.
think he's spot on? 100%?
I don't agree with the Cardano narrative, but I think that his thesis on community-driven projects, and he referenced XRP and Cardano because they have such large communities, and nothing against either one, but at the end of the day, like, you're going into a bull market, you got to identify, like, where's retail going to pile in at, right? Because if you're going to get these 10x's from these large crypto projects, right? Essentially, that's kind of what you're hoping for. You're hoping that Cardano gets past $3. You're hoping that XRP gets past $5, right? That's kind of the whole thesis behind holding it. And so if you're going to expect those returns, you're going to need retail. You're going to need people at work talking about they're going to buy XRP and they bought Cardano. You need the barber shop over there, conversation to be about it. And so if that happens, are these 2 projects, for example, are they going to be the ones that everyone buys? And I don't know about XRP because it's more of an institution grade product, right? I mean, you can speculate all day long. You can say, hey, the banks are going to use it, buy it.
Weren't you just saying XRP $3.50 yesterday?
I 100% agree that the XRP
With yourself?
You know what? I said $3. I said is remember we were comparing it to Ethereum, and I said, hey, look, I would think I would be more inclined to stay in Ethereum because I think it's more of a guaranteed return, right? And so yesterday's conversation, I was saying that, hey, if you're looking for more upside, you want to take on more risk, sure, play XRP. But myself personally, I'm gonna side with Ethereum. And the reason being is that I don't have the conviction that the retail is going to come in. That's the one thing. I mean, you had the court case settle, The court case has been the crown jewel of why the price is suppressed, right? Every time someone's talking about the fact that XRP is not at $2, they always bring up the court case. The court case is over. And where'd the price go? Briefly up and right back to where it was. And so that just shows you that retail's not here. And you know what? You either need retail to triple their bag, which there's a lot of damn XRP holders. I don't think that XRP holders are going to triple their bags, at least in a short window, or you need new money to come in. Now, with that said, I do think that institutions are going to buy it, but it's going to be a slow, steady pace. And so that you're looking out at 5 to 8 years for Ripple to make the partnerships with central banks and institutions for them to start using it. So with that, I would have to agree with them. I agree with them on the thesis 100%. Think about this. Replace Cardano and XRP in that snippet with Litecoin and Dash. And then just play that video in 2019. Guys, are you going to hold Litecoin through this bull market? But like in 2016, it did really well. Like we're just going to go back. It's going to go back to the 2017 high. Like it's going to get there, guys. Like no, nobody's using Litecoin. Like nobody's using Dash. Like it's outdated. Like the trend has moved elsewhere. And so you don't want to be in those projects. You don't want to be in the EOS. You don't want to be in the Moneros. You don't want to be in those. Now, they do have value. They're still around, but you ain't making money on them things. And so identify those projects and don't be scared to exit. Don't be scared to jump ship. Now, I'll just end it at this. Cardano, I think, is absolutely going to rally. They have built they have been building. In contrast to Monero and in contrast to Litecoin, and in contrast to the chains that have slowly dwindled and died off, the development more or less halted, and the partnerships kind of evaporated, and we're seeing the opposite when it comes to Cardano. So for me, now Cardano, it's checking all the boxes, right? It has a beautiful roadmap. It's getting further along. It doesn't have any hiccups. It has it's becoming more and more scalable, and now it's going to become more and more decentralized with the Chang hard fork coming up next week. And so I'm so bullish on Cardano. I can't even stress it. But what's the roadmap of our XRP look like?
What you guys got to remember is this, right? Raoul Pal is a venture capitalist. What do venture capitalists do? They make money. That is their only goal. They don't give a shit about community. They don't give a shit about what you're working on. Is this going to make me money cycle to cycle? And in that lens, he's right. XRP, Cardano, might take a little while for Cardano once it starts moving, right? Look at what Cardano is doing, right? Going down in Argentina, the Constitutional Committee, right? They're building out Hydra, their research hub. And, we talked about all of that in the sit-down interview with Charles. And he brought up the point that, look, what we're doing now, right? And in any business, you think about this. In any business that anyone's ever started, when we started this business, we understood that we're probably going to have to put in 5 to 10 years of work, of time, of money, of reinvesting, of resources to really bear the fruits of our labor. Sure, are we going to make some money along the way? Absolutely, we have. But our end goal of being the #1 cryptocurrency podcast in the entire world, we knew was not going to come in the first 3 years. Might not even come in the first 5 years, and we're okay with that. But somehow, when it comes to buying and holding crypto projects, or investing in a team, we're like, dude, price hasn't moved in a week. Price hasn't moved in a month. So I think that's where we got to discern from what a venture capitalist is looking to do from what if you are invested in the space because of what your project is building, what you're looking to do.
So you agree, right, with his thesis, right?
I agree with it. If you're only looking to make money cycle to cycle, I 100%.
You agree with his. You agree with the thesis, right? And so projects fade, not all going to come back. Dan touched on it. The video touched on it.
I think it's even going to get more accelerated as we
Let's do it. Quick fire. Let's go. All right. So Ethereum.
Yes.
Okay. Solana.
Yes.
Okay. How about BNB? Massive run up last bull market. Will this trend continue? Take a look at the all-time chart, $600. It is right around former all-time highs. Is this a good play?
As long as
Do you think
Binance-
that this keeps growing?
as
You think
long
it gets
as-
to the $2,000
As long as
BNB?
Binance is around, yes.
So $2,000 BNB. It's a 4x.
Is
Or-
CZ still in jail?
And he gets out in like a couple weeks.
He might need some money.
Ah.
But I as long as Binance is around, and they don't have to have 70% dominance, but if they're in the top 3, then yes.
Okay. Big market play here. Toncoin. What's your vibe on Toncoin?
Yes.
You think that it's gonna
At least for
return
the,
a lot of gains this
at
bull
least for
market?
this cycle, yes.
Okay. Dogecoin. That's
Yes,
interesting.
that's yeah.
Yeah. How about Tron?
Yes.
Okay. Cardano.
Absolutely.
Avalanche.
Yes.
Is there anything you're fading here? Jesus.
We'll go down further down the
Shiba
list.
Inu. You know that's a yes. Stop it.
I'm 50-50.
You're 50-50
I wouldn't
on the
have any-
resurgence of SHIB?
I wouldn't have any long-term exposure. I'll put it-
Yeah. Okay. How about, now we get to the fun ones. Polkadot.
No.
Bitcoin Cash.
No.
Keeps losing dominance, right?
Yep.
How about Chainlink?
Yes. I put Chainlink and Cardano in the same
I
category.
remember prior to this to this year starting, you were telling me Chainlink was going to outperform everything, including Bitcoin.
It's still 4 months left.
All right. Polygon. So before you get into Polygon here, did you see this headline? So Move to Earn game Step and Go reveals G-Shock NFT sneaker collab.
G-Shock. Remember those
And-
watches?
Yeah, so G-Shock, there's shoes here.
Those are
And
what
so-
the hell are those?
Yeah, so you got Step and Go G-Shock edition here. So the spinoff of the mobile Move to Earn game has teamed up with the iconic brand G-Shock to launch a unique collectible collection of NFT sneakers. And so,
NFT markets
you know
are
what?
So down right
Polygon has made the big partnerships with household names, had success with it.
now. Not really. What have they had success with? Starbucks
they-
literally ended. They gave a grant to an NFT project. That NFT project gave it back and went back to Solana. Seriously,
Yeah.
they gave the ecosystem.
So now that I preface that, Polygon, Is it-
50-50, man.
do you think it bleeds off this bull market, or you think it rallies back? You get a 4 or 5x, 6x.
That's a coin toss for me.
Interesting. Near Protocol,
Oh yeah.
Litecoin. Does it keep dying?
Nope. Yes. Keeps dying.
Uniswap. That's a good one right there.
That's a good one. Especially now that holders of the token are going to get a piece of the trading.
I think Uniswap just keeps dropping down this list. I think by the end of the bull market,
You
it'll
think
get
so? You think
40.
Uniswap is one that's going to bleed off?
Yeah.
So you think that the number one decentralized exchange for the number one smart contract platform with the most amount of liquidity, who now has utility in their coin, you think that's going to bleed off?
The utility's not that strong though.
What do you mean? It's like paying dividends. Why do people consistently invest in stocks like Coca-Cola? Because they pay dividends.
I understand. I'm just saying my personal opinion is that
So you don't think investors are going to find value in that?
I think investors will, but I think investors will also find more value out of Caspa, ICP, out of Stellar Lumens, out of
Stellar.
Stacks, out of Filecoin, out of Aave, out of VeChain. And so I do think that this list will get shuffled, and I think that Uniswap will be underperformed by blockchains that have real use case and utility. And I'm not saying that you're not getting a return on investment for Uniswap. I'm not saying that there isn't any functionality at all. But in the grand scheme of things, I just don't see the Uniswap token having so much value that it goes from $4 billion to $20 billion or $50 billion. I think it's a reach for their governance token that's now pays dividends to all of a sudden be the messiah coin that everyone needs.
Pays dividends on the most expensive network in the space.
Yeah, and the network's going to get cheaper, and people are going to find alternatives outside of Uniswap, and that the days of $500 transactions are over. And so I don't
Did
know.
you see Ethereum 2 weeks ago? $1,000 transaction fees.
Yeah, I did want to give a little love to the chat. We had 10 gifted memberships from who gave us our membership? From Poman. So Poman, thank you so
Ain't
much.
no po, man.
So and did spot out
Richmond.
some new people as well. if you're new here, if it's your first time checking us out, or you just want to say what up, say hi. We'll give you a little love back at you. We got Nexa, Mark P, Mario C, Boombox Benny, Papa Elf, El Pufe. We got Jay Cuban, Hamad, Calvin Beans, Scott, Marcus Math. We got Port, B Hour, Crypto Dreamer, Dr. Feelgood, Nate TV Time, Hitman, Thomas Keefe, and Palm ECFN. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
You know, Vitalik, right? He's puts out
Is it
posts.
Vitalik or Vitalik?
Vitalik.
Vitalik.
So Vitalik Buterin, founder of Ethereum, you know, he does a lot of write-ups, and you know, it's pretty in depth, right? And so saw this gem of a post today. I have been told that I need to do less philosophizing. Is that even a word? Philosophizing, and do more Ethereum bull posting. Hence, here is an Ethereum bull post. Ethereum is good. Are you now running to the exchange to buy Ethereum, Robin? Now that Vitalik's all in, he saw Justin Sun, what he was doing. He see all these other founders, right? And here comes Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin.
You know, you and Vitalik share a very similar sense of humor.
Oh yeah,
Little short jokes that you just. They call them knee slappers.
that's crazy. Big update. Rob alluded to this. This is from Tim Harrison. Chang 1 upgrade update. So, guys, I'm sure a lot of you Cardano people know this, but if you don't, Chang comes in 2 waves. Wave number 1 is the hard fork, right? Wave number 2, that is when you start unlocking some of the things like the treasury, where it's got 1 billion ADA tokens, to where you, the community, can decide on what you want to spend that money on. You want to spend it on promoting a NASCAR driver? Do you want to spend it on grants to bring developers in? Do you want to spend it on bringing a stable coin like Circle or USDT on the Cardano network? You will have that power, let's call it over the next 6 to 12 months, right? Phase 1, it goes great, perfect, we get ready. Phase 2, bam, money unlocks. We got the DREPs, we got the Constitutional Committee, we got Hydra spooling, we got everything going in the direction. Then you'll look back and you'll think about, man, Cardano was at 33 cents for such a long time. I wish I would have bought it. Which is why I bought more Cardano yesterday. So the target for mainnet hard fork is Tuesday, August 27th, with a final go, no-go decision scheduled for early Friday, this Friday, the 23rd. And so Voltaire era, the final era on the Cardano roadmap as we know it. You know, Charles talked about, you know, going after scalability in parallel, 4 different, right? 4 different ways. And what we saw with Hydra at the Rare Evo convention, and the fact that it literally did in the 2 days more transactions than the entire history of the Cardano ledger, with 0 bloat, 0 downtime, 0 issues, 0 harm to the user experience, I think says a lot about what we can expect from Cardano moving forward as the amazing technology, the peer-reviewed technology continues to be built, continues to play out, and as they make it more easier to bring developers on chain to build projects, and as that 1 billion in treasury gets unlocked, man, I'm excited to see what's going to come down the pipeline, especially in Argentina, man. I think something's big going to happen down there.
Yeah, they're going to make a splash down there?
I think they are. You already saw it here with California. Their DMV went with Avalanche, and they put all their DMV records on Avalanche. You don't think we'll see that on a nation-state level? Not just DMV, but public schools? You name it.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Social Security hack, right?
Oh my
so everyone, your Social Security, if you live in the U.S., has been compromised.
Literally
And thanks-
every single person, dead or alive.
So thanks to the data breach that was being held by, well, United States Social Security Commission. And so that's all been exposed, right? And so you ask yourself, hey, would this have been better stored on a blockchain? Would have been more secure? Would have been hackable? And so, you know, we saw Charles Hoskinson come out and say, hey, I'll give you $1 million bounty. You can hack this wallet. Not even not even the chain itself, not even the core protocol or Hydra, but he said, "Hey, look, hack this wallet and we'll give you $1 million."
He's like, and guess what? I'll even allow people to take a snapshot of it and I'll upload it to the internet as a PDF.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to security, I think that as these hacks and data breaches become more and more of a normal everyday
There's going to be
thing,
more focus on security.
there's going to be more focus on security. People are going to get tired of it. And well, companies also are on the hook for a lot of money, right? And so they get sued. There's always class action lawsuits with data breaches. And so at the end of the day, like if you're running a company and you got a lot of sensitive information, you're probably asking yourself like, hey, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to have the PR hit. Let's just make this as secure as possible in the cheapest way possible. And I feel like blockchain just easily fixes that situation. It fits the bill, right? And so I don't know. I'm bullish on Cardano, man. You think they'll be, I asked the X followers. I'm like, hey, what's the next game you'd want to see on Cardano? That was a
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog, huh? Is it because it runs fast?
No, it's just because I play that game a lot. Yeah.
I
That was
think
the first game I got on my Sega Genesis when I moved to the United States back in 1996.
I'm thinking about the progression, right? They did Doom. Like, what would be the next step up, right? Because
Doom
you
2.
don't want to go backwards, right? You don't want to do Doom and then all of a sudden do Space Invaders, right? You want to move it up. You want to move the bar up.
What was that one game where you had a grid of 100 and then you had to pick it, and then if you hit the bomb,
Minesweeper? Man, you know what? I was addicted to that for a while. Yeah.
Me too. Thought, what's your answer? What would you
I don't
like?
know, man. I think maybe a Call of Duty game first pause. You know what? I think Halo would be really well. I think the original Halo I feel like what's the next step up? The original Halo, the one that came out on Xbox back in like 2000 or 1999, whatever it was. I think that one would be a really good port over or something that you could play single player, which the campaign for Halo was absolutely epic. Kind of moved the genre of first-person shooters up into a more of an open-world environment, and then also ushered in multiplayer, right? And so that was a massive success. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious of what the next one would be. But also remember, Doom game was an open source game, so maybe there needs to be some kind of collaboration with a studio to put it on there.
That's a good point. But I mean, I feel like that's an easy pitch, right?
Yeah,
We'll see.
I think so.
I want to talk about this. Tether's $1 billion USDT mint on the Tron network boosts that total to $33 billion in 2024 that they have minted across Ethereum and Tron blockchains. On August 20th, Tether minted a staggering $1 billion USDT on the Tron network. On August 13th, Tether minted $1 billion USDT on the Ethereum network. However, CEO Paulo Ardoño has clarified that the $1 billion USDT on Ethereum was an inventory replenishment, claiming it was authorized but not issued. This means the tokens were reserved for future issuance requests and chain swaps. Now, here's how it's supposed to work. I need 500 million. Let's say you're Binance. I need 500 million USDT on Ethereum. I go and I give Tether, I deposit $500 million, and in turn, I get to mint 500 million USDT tokens, which represents the same amount in the value. But there's been a lot of talk about, are they just printing money out of thin air? Are they taking a play out of the U.S. government's playbook? And because we see, Robin, anytime we see a massive minting at Tether's treasury with USDT, we see upward price movement in crypto, right? Ethereum, Tron, the overall market as a whole. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that, like, are we getting to a point where we're doing exactly what we're trying to get away from? Is printing money out of thin air, and we just, these paper gains we have and the gains we have are just really not anything? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the thing is that this isn't a blockchain with a fixed supply, right? It's just a company that's issuing you a
Digital
token,
version
yeah,
of
a digital
dollar.
version of the dollar that trades that you can use in a decentralized way on blockchain. And so in itself, the company isn't bound to the same parameters that other chains are. And so, yeah, they
But I
can
think
print at will. That's their thing.
That's the thing.
And so at the end of the day, you know, you got to look at it from a reputation standpoint, right? And so if your reputation and if your trust is eroded, people are going to go elsewhere, right? And so if you keep minting more and more Tether, then at some point, if you don't have the money to back it up, you're running an inherently more risk of getting called out on it, right? If you can look at a bank that's issuing gold, right? If you have a gold certificate and you keep issuing out gold that you don't have, there's too many redemptions and you can't fulfill all the redemptions, then you're going to be in a problem. You're going to go under, or if people audit you and they find out that you don't have the gold and you have all these redemptions out, you lose your credibility. So at the end of the day, the market is going to decide the direction of Tether, right? And how much trust they keep with their customers is what's going to keep it where it is. And so for me, I think it's not anything too dramatic. I know $1 billion sounds like a lot, but you know, I don't think that they're going to have enough redemptions to stress test them. But I would be very curious to see what an audit would say, right? And I know that have had public statements coming out with audits, but at the end of the day, man, they're putting money into the markets, right? And so, like,
Enjoy it while it lasts.
if you're a fan of altcoins and the price go up, you know that people buy altcoins with Tether. That's the reality of it. And so, you know, I guess it's a good thing for the space. The more money's flooding in.
Good for the money, but doesn't it pose an inherent systemic risk? A lot of people like to use that as a buzzword.
Yeah,
Systemic risk.
that's why you don't hold your wealth in stable coins.
But you
It's
understand
the same way you
but
don't
we
hold
can
your
agree.
wealth
But we
in
can agree
dollars.
if something happened to Tether, it would be a bigger black swan
Yeah.
than
Oh, yeah.
COVID and everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. If something happens to Tether, if it was a blow up, then that's a massive catalyst for downside pressure because I mean, think about how many companies hold their value
and all
or
the
hold
trading
their
pairs are in Tether.
and so yeah, I mean, you don't want to see that obviously, but that's why once again that's why you don't hold dollars, right? You don't even the smartest people that have no crypto exposure, the wealthy individuals, the billionaires, they don't have their money sitting in a checking account or a savings account, right? They move their money into places that are going to generate returns. And so if you're in crypto, don't get overexposed to stablecoins. Like it's not a smart move.
Amen to that. This could potentially be big.
What's that?
This could potentially be big. You know, RFK plans to drop out of the presidential race by the end of the week. And this is coming off the back of his vice president, Nicole Shanahan, saying that they may endorse Trump. She said this on a podcast and she said this on Fox News. Now, why is this important to you watching?
Yeah, this meeting, Arizona. He's having a press release on Friday, and so I think that's where we'll get a confirmation of whether he'll stay on the ballot or if he will, basically, fall back and endorse Trump is what it sounds like. So.
Why do I bring that up? I want to point to this tweet right here from Travis Kling. Not financial advice. I'm often wrong. That's his disclaimer. Bitcoin has likely been trading with a correlation to Trump winning. And that makes sense to me. Bitcoin crypto will be much better off under a Trump administration, at least what the traders and investors are saying with their money. The DNC does not appear to be going particularly well. RFK is supposed to be endorsing Trump on Friday. He put this out before that tweet I just read you. These factors are showing up on Polymarket, and if RFK goes for Trump, I would guess Polymarket would widen out further. Talks about the next big step being September 10th. But I think we can both agree not on a personal level, but what the markets think would be better for risk on assets, including Bitcoin and crypto, would be Trump over Kamala Harris. Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have one candidate that has at least came out and publicly discussed policy and the administration's outlook on crypto and what their stance is going to be. One party, the Republicans, Trump has said, hey, he went to the Bitcoin conference. I mean, how much will he deliver? That I don't know. But at least I feel comfortable that he's not going to reverse direction and go the opposite way. He's not going to try to ban crypto and then boot crypto mining, overseas or something. I think that maybe he overpromises, under-delivers. I think that that's a realistic scenario. I think that is probably what we'll get. And it's going to be no different than any other campaign promises. Hey, we're going to change healthcare. They try to do something. Maybe they go 30% the direction they were campaigning on. But I think the same thing is going to be said here. In contrast, Kamala Harris and the Democrats, they have yet to make any public announcement. They had that one video Zoom call with Chuck Schumer. But outside of that, Kamala hasn't mentioned anything. And they came out, the Democrats came out with a proposal or at least an outlook for the following term when they get in office, when she wins. And there was no mention. I think it was like over 100 pages long. There was zero mention of crypto in there. And so she wants to campaign Harris for crypto has been the slogan. But realistically, there's been no mention of crypto out of her mouth. Now, her campaign, supposedly, yeah, but her mouth, no. So, real quick shout out. We did have a Danny Huckster, G.I. Joe, Nicholas, Z. Lewid, Tracy, and S.E. All of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
This is very risky, but I want to share something that I'm keeping my eye on. Is if RFK does drop out and endorse Trump, this coin right here is probably going to see some substantial growth. It's already up 17% on the day. The RSI Force talked about this bullish divergence. RSI trending up while price has been trending down. We did see a breakout. So I'm not saying put any significant amount of money in it, but if you want exposure to a potential announcement of RFK dropping out endorsing Trump, I think this kind of makes sense, and I'll kind of leave it at that. We have a Solana video coming out in about 1 hour. Is it a good time to buy, or should you be selling your Solana? I will answer that question in the video, so if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. With that being said, Chase? Rocco, if you're watching, pay attention. That's how you do the outro when I do the finger tornado. It's got to be on point. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Big thank you to our guest today, Dan. Make sure to come back tomorrow. We have a lot more to talk about. We love you guys. Peace.
Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.